What are the 5 worst things that you can say in a sale? And I'm not talking about the obvious things, the rude things, the things that make people angry. We're not talking about any of that. We're talking about things that you're probably saying without even thinking about it. And I want you to be more conscious of what you are saying in the sale, because it could be that difference between you making a sale and not making a sale. What's going on, everybody? Jeff Burlingame here, professional mentor for Two Brain Business, and you're watching this video on the Two Brain Business channel. If you're looking to excel as an entrepreneur and move yourself closer to wealth, this is the right channel for you. We've got a ton of amazing videos on the channel that you can go back in our catalog for, from Chris Cooper and other great creators. So go back and check those out, and be sure to subscribe. Smash the like on this video, ring that notification bell so that you can see when we post more content. And check out the Two Brain podcast while you're at it. All right, so what are those 5 things that you need to stop saying during the sale? Number 1 is the word but. That's right, B-U-T ... whatever follows that. Because what happens when you say but in any circumstance, in any conversation, is you actually negate anything the person you're speaking with or in a sales appointment with has said prior to you saying but. So Mrs. Jones says, "Man, that's a bit expensive for me." And then you say, "Mrs. Jones, I hear you, but." Sounds innocuous, yes? It's not. What happens when somebody says but to you? Maybe you're talking to your boss. "How'd I do on that job?" "It was good, but next time I'm gonna need you to do this," right? It kind of just takes away from what that person has said. So I hear you, but I don't hear you. So first things first, stop saying the word but. It just doesn't really have a good place in normal conversation. And it definitely doesn't have a good place in a sales conversation, because it's one of those words that could set people off. All right, so number 1 was kind of a simple one. Let's get to something that's a little more complex that you might not think of or really don't understand why it's a problem. So number 2 is I hear you, I understand, that makes sense. I'm kind of lumping these all together for a reason, because they're all said for the same reason, with the same intent or purpose in mind. And that is that you're probably honestly trying to just connect with the sales prospect. You're probably trying to acknowledge them. However, this is a terrible way to acknowledge a sales objection. So if Mrs. Jones says, "Man, this is really expensive," and you say, "I hear you, I understand, I get where you're coming from, that makes sense," any of these things. Or worse yet, you say, "You're right, it is expensive." Basically, any of these options is you're agreeing with them. So we want to acknowledge an objection. You want to acknowledge it, but you don't want to agree with it. Much like you want to acknowledge a toddler, but you don't want to agree with them. Those of you with kids, you got to understand where I'm coming from here. So if your toddler's kicking and screaming, you might approach them and acknowledge, and you say, "I can see that you're upset." Not, "I understand that you're upset." Not, "You being upset makes sense." Not, "I get it, you broke your toy, you're mad about it." We're just addressing the feeling with an acknowledgement. "I can see that you're upset." There's no emotional attachment there. There can't be. We need them to calm down. We need your sales prospects not to put up their defenses. We need them to be on a level playing field, relaxed, chill, ready to roll, and open to a conversation, which is all we're really doing. We're not hard selling anyone. At Two Brain Business, we don't advocate for that. We're not hard sellers. We're not a pushy car salesman, throwing on that tweed jacket, walking in with our briefcase and just pushing you into a sale that you don't actually want. We're not selling you things you don't need. We're selling you health and wellness. Everybody needs that. However, if your prospect has objected, you have to overcome that. Don't fall for this nonsense that helping somebody overcome an objection is pushy sales. That's not a pushy sales tactic. It's completely reasonable that 99% of consumers who you encounter in a sales situation would object. They're simply asking for space to think and breathe. It's not pushy of you to try and help them walk through that or think out loud. And that's what we teach at Two Brain Business. This isn't pushy sales. This is strategy. This is strategizing with your prospect on how they can make a decision that is mutually beneficial here. We want a win-win. That's what we're going for. So going back to the number 2 thing not to say, it's agreement. Do not agree with an objection. I hear you, I understand, that makes sense, I get it, it is expensive. None of those are good options, so avoid that. Number 3, I. It's all about you. Here's the problem. In a sales situation, the person who is the most important is your prospect, the person you're selling to. I don't care about you. I don't care about your amazing business, your gym, your brand new equipment. I don't care about your years in experience. If you're currently starting off your sales appointments with a lengthy diatribe of why you are the professional you are, why you're here now, how you came to be, how your gym's been around for 12 years, that is nonsense. That is a waste of time, and you are boring Mrs. Jones to death. Not only does she not care, that information is almost completely irrelevant when it comes to making the sale. Because here's the thing, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I don't care how many certifications you have. What are you gonna do for me? How much do you care about me? Telling me about those certifications means nothing to me. You might as well be speaking gibberish. I don't get what those mean. I don't get what that level of education does for you. Show me how that's gonna help me. In fact, don't even talk about it. Don't talk about it at all. Don't talk about yourself at all. I've said this here before on the channel. I've said it in sales seminars that I've run in the past as well. You do not need to do a workout. You should not do body fat tests, do assessments. You shouldn't be testing any of that stuff at the sales appointment. This is not the time to do that. You do that on their first actual session. Once they've paid for the services, then you deliver the services. You don't need to conduct your no sweat intros or your sales appointments in your business. You could do them over the phone. You could do them at a coffee shop. You don't have to be present in the business, because it's not about that. It's about what results can you get me. It's about me. So when you're having a sales conversation, I implore you to, instead of I, say we, us, right? It's not I, you, or I, me. It's we, us. We're in this together. Because again, we're seeking a win-win at the end of this appointment. So let's help ourselves in that journey. Stop saying I, start saying we. This next one's kind of a tough one to overcome. So number 4 is when can you? And what I mean by this is anytime you ask an open-ended question as it pertains to scheduling appointments. So more specifically, when you're trying to book a no sweat intro or a sales appointment with somebody, if you say, hey, when would you be able to come in for this? Hey, when would you be able to get started? Or even if you try to close the sale with when can you get started? When can you do your first class? None of that stuff's relevant, first of all. Second of all, it's too open-ended. Because I'll tell you from my experience and the experience of others, typically that meetup never happens. Never happens at all. What if instead we did this? We said, hey, Mrs. Jones, I've got time tomorrow at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock p.m. Which of those times works best for you? I'm being assumptive. I'm picking a time close to now because this is when they are most excited. Pick that high energy moment. So 24 to 48 hours from this moment, we need to meet up. We need to have that no sweat intro. We need to do your first session. You just bought the program. You should train tomorrow at the latest. Let's get them in and using this thing so that they can continue to be excited and have that first exposure with the program and enjoy it and move forward. That's what we need to do. So instead of asking when can you, start saying when you want them to. You pick the time. Guess what? Worst case scenario, they can't do 1 or 2. You suggest 2 more times. Okay, no problem. I've also got time at 4 and 5. Which of those times works better? At this point, if they say neither, then you simply say, okay, no problem. What works better for you, AM or PM? They say PM. You say, great. What do you mean by PM? Like 4 or 5, or do you mean later, 6, 7, 8? 6, 7, 8. Okay, great. On Tuesday, I've got 6, 7, or 8. Which time works best? See, we just nail it down. Nail the time. Quit leaving it open-ended. All right, finally, number 5, and I will, before I say number 5, tell you guys this is by no means an exhaustive list. This is just a simplified list that I could present in a 10 to 15 minute video on YouTube. So this is 5 things that you need to stop saying. However, there's probably 1,000 things you need to stop saying. So if you're looking for a part 2, hit me up in the comments and let me know what you'd like to see. And we can, of course, dive in. I've heard plenty of things that should not be said or do not belong in a sales appointment from salespeople over the last decade, so happy to share more tips here. Number 5, though, to close out today's list is any variation of what can I do to earn your business today? What can I do to get you started today? You're just exasperated at the end of a sales appointment. You've handled every objection you could, and yet you haven't made the sale. Now is not the time to wheel and deal, though. This is not going to help you. We do need to keep asking questions, but this is the wrong question. Imagine going to a car dealership, you're trying to buy a car, and the car salesman inevitably always says, what can I do to earn your business today? And you say, give me a discount. Give me a deal. That's what they're going to say. So you're literally just opening the door for somebody to ask or demand a discount. And then you'll make the sale, but at what cost? How does that affect your current members paying full price? You're gonna let a new person come in at a discount? That's not fair. That's not consistent. That's not good business. You don't want to do that. So if you're currently saying this, and I hope you're not, do not wheel and deal at the end of the sale. Don't make the sale at any cost. Start by asking other, more appropriate questions about what they're objecting to. They need to talk to their spouse. I appreciate that you want to be a team player. When you talk to your spouse, what do you think they're going to say? They need to think about it. I appreciate you want the time to reflect. What exactly is it that you need to think about that we weren't able to cover today? It's too expensive. Thank you for letting me know how you feel. What exactly are we comparing this to? Any of those variations. Those are better questions. Those are better approaches. Not, I've had 2-3 objections. I'm stumped. What's it going to take to get you started today? Right? That, first of all, never works. Second of all, opens the door for discounts. Please don't do that. All right, you guys, there's a very simplified list. 5 of the worst things you can say in any sales appointment or any sales experience. So please, if you're currently saying that, don't take this the wrong way. Just remove it from your vernacular. Stop using that in sales appointments. It will take some practice. It will definitely take some role play. So get after it. Find a good partner. Go role play your sales. Get better. Make more sales and become a better entrepreneur. Move yourself closer to wealth. Thank you for watching today. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, smash the like on this video, and ring that notification bell, and we'll see you guys on the next video.